Okay, so a follow-up to my Talon grip video, which is on the farther end of advanced grip strength training. I want to go back about 20 paces and do a primer or beginning level advice I would give to someone if they asked me, Will, I want to improve my grip strength. What should I do? If you follow me long enough, you'll know I am the world's largest or biggest proponent of the dead hang. And it's just simply hanging on a bar or anything that's above your head. Among the multitude of benefits of the dead hang, one of the greatest ones that I found that it gives you is it builds tremendous amount of grip strength while having multiple benefits. So you're killing two birds or three or four birds with one stone. And as a functional adult, time and energy are the most important resources that you have. And you don't have a lot of time and you don't have a lot of energy to waste. And the dead hang or doing any kind of movement or exercise that does multiple things, multiple compound benefits, is a win-win situation, and the dead hang's one of them. But back to the grip strength component of it. What's great about it is it activates the muscles you need to have good grip strength. And I made a post on Facebook about why grip strength is so important. And I made a mention of saying, if you focus solely on grip strength, all the rest of the stuff will sort itself out. And someone will say, well, what about the deadlift? The deadlift is considered the best exercise of all exercises. That may be true, but good luck doing a deadlift if you've got no grip strength. And speaking of which, this is when the light bulb clicked off in my head about the importance of grip strength, but more importantly, the actual way of increasing it. I always have had strong grip, but rarely trained it. But when I did train it, it tends to go through the roof. So I know it's trainable in me, and it's probably trainable for most people because most people don't train it. And so you can have a large amount of improvement in a very short amount of time. That said, I did a deadlift experiment over the course of several years. And that deadlift experiment was this. I stopped deadlifting a barbell for 2 years straight. And up until the point when I stopped, I had hit my PR. And at the time, I think it was 2.75 of my body weight. I weighed probably 150 pounds then, so I was doing like 380 or 375 or something like that. It was a lot of weight. And I got to a certain point where I stopped deadlifting heavy things and I stopped squatting because I didn't want to risk injury. But one of the things I noticed back to the deadlift when I did set those PRs, I had to use supinated and pronated grip, basically the reversed grip on both hands, opposing grip. I didn't use straps, and I did this because it was acceptable as far as lifting, because the bar was basically rolling out of my hands. I think I might have been able to do it with supinated grip. Either way, I could barely hang on to the bar. I was strong enough to lift the bar, but I couldn't hang on to it. So grip strength actually in that case was a limiter to me. Fast forward 2 years, hadn't deadlifted a barbell at all. But I continued to do all these other things that I've been doing and show on social media. That said, I was curious if I could still deadlift as much as I used to, thinking there's no freaking way I could do that. And knowing how hard it was to hang on to that bar, more importantly, there's nothing like lifting up a weight and getting it halfway off the ground and knowing that thing wants to not only just pull itself out of your hand, roll out of your hand. And that feeling of helplessness, of slowly feeling that bar roll out of your hand and knowing it's like, this isn't stopping me from lifting it, it's these that are stopping it, and that sucker's just gonna fall to the ground, not because I can't pull it off the ground, I just can't simply hold it. That said, I started this experiment over a course of not even 2 weeks, and I ended up deadlifting more than I did before I stopped, which is pretty amazing given that I didn't deadlift a barbell in those 2 years. But the more important part of that story is the grip strength. The bar did not budge, and I did it with a supinated grip. Whereas before, doing this, or pulling up even supinated, let's just say, the bar was just like, oh, well, that sucker is gonna roll out of your hands before you even get it past your knees. Fast forward 2 years later, in late 2019, I pulled that bar up and I had to stop and think, like, oh my goodness, that bar didn't budge out of my hands. And that's when the alarm bell went off in my head about what grip strength is, how do you train it? And when I was deadlifting heavy barbells, I did the whole wrist curl thing, thinking, oh, I've got to build up my strength. If I want to get stronger in the deadlift, I got to get that grip strength up, get that grip strength up. Didn't help at all. None. Zilch. In fact, I think I developed tendonitis issues. But that said, over those 2 years after I stopped doing it, I started to learn a bunch of different things. I started to learn that time under tension is what builds strength. And now I'm a huge proponent of time under tension. And for me, getting my grip strength wasn't actually working on it. And in those 2 years in between, I didn't actually work on my grip strength. I did a lot of work that required a tremendous amount of time under tension, or at least way more than I was doing before. Before I was just doing reps and there wasn't that much time under tension. So why does that matter? The dead hang. The dead hang is a beautiful movement for time under tension as far as your grip, because how you can measure your dead hang is with a stopwatch or with time. And you're hanging, and that is tension, and that time on the stopwatch, and that tension is time under tension. Whereas when you pull on a deadlift or even work on using wrist curls, don't do wrist curls. They're a waste of time, unless you want to be a bodybuilder. Half the time you're relaxing. Even if you try to lower it, you're still relaxing. Whereas the dead hang, you're activating these muscles because you're just trying to hang on. And that's the other thing, is that you get this input. You lose grip and start to let go, you fall off the bar. Whereas a wrist curl or any kind of resistance exercise, there's no downside to what you're doing. You're just basically letting the weight go where gravity wants to take it, or the resistance is lessened. This, you get an input, you can't hang on, you fall off, and you know this, and you can see it on the clock of how long you've held. So that's why I love the dead hang, because it builds grip strength in a very simple way, but also it has a ton of other benefits. And what the dead hang really works on is, if you modify your grip, and I'll show you, you can do the same similar things as the Talon grip does. The Talon grip just allows you to do it much easier. But if you want to spend $15 on that, that's fine. And since it's a single-use type thing anyway. But that said, one of my favorite tools with the dead hang, once you master that, and here are the things that I tell people to work up to as far as time under that tension, is work up to 15 seconds. Most people will say 15 seconds, no problem. It's not that easy. By 10 seconds, it starts to hurt. By 15, you can make it. And then after that, work up to 30 seconds. And you're just like, okay, well, if I told you to go from 0 to 30, you'd be like, no problem. Trust me, when you get to about 13 seconds, it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I can't make it. Then you make it to 15 and you think, okay, no problem. Try going to 30, way harder. And then doubling that, and then doubling that, and doubling that. Me personally, on a 1.25" bar, I don't know how long I can hang, doesn't really matter, but I can hang for a long time. And why I don't know is I like to challenge myself and use something called a grip roller. there is, in places like Miami or state fairs all over the country, they have carny folk that have a dead hang challenge that uses an oversized grip, I think 2-inch grip, but it rotates on bearings. It's, I think generally speaking, the challenge is 100 seconds for $100. And you can't use any grip, any chalk or anything on your hands. But other than that, I think it's fine. There are no other rules. If there are, whatever. But this is a version of that that's a single hand version. And I have 2 of these. The other one's up there. And I love this thing because of 2 reasons. It simulates that challenge, the spinning bar challenge. But more importantly, it's an oversized grip and the spinning part. But what the oversized grip does is it increases the diameter of how your hand has to cup. And that recruits a lot more muscles in the top of your forearm for the brachialis. If you can imagine creating a large C, you can feel the tension change in your forearm if you have muscles. But that's why I love this, and I focus on this because this challenge cuts down that amount of time I have to hang, which is time in my bank account, my life bank account, but it increases the amount of tension. So net, I prefer doing this because it gives me more bang for my buck. But first you gotta walk before you can run, master the regular dead hang, and if you want to, start increasing the size of your grip. Again, this is on the far end of the spectrum, given that you can win $100 if you can hang for 100 seconds on this. Doesn't seem very hard, but 30 seconds is a long time doing this. And generally speaking, I do 30-second reps with like 2 minutes of rest in between, and it's really difficult. To the point where I'm watching the timer on the camera. The first rep is not that tough, but subsequent reps gets to be quite brutal. What I recommend to people is finding either larger diameter bars at their local gym, or you can make a larger diameter by simply taking a towel and wrapping it around your bar. And it doesn't have to be all the way around. I mean, constantly around, and just kick and adjust it like so and kick it off to the side. And that just increases the size of the diameter of your grip. Pretty simple. I wouldn't say it's ghetto, it's pretty simple. The other thing you could do is use these things called fat grips. These are Yes for All ones. I love these things, and this is the first thing I got before I got the rollers. These are 2 inches, and they're just simply pieces of heavy-duty rubber that wrap around any kind of bar. Generally speaking, 1.25 inch bar, just like you would have with an Olympic barbell, right here. And again, this is the thing, it increases the diameter of your grip, which recruits more muscles, which taxes you more. And again, it's the time under tension, increasing the tension, and you don't have to hold on as long, or you increase the time and reduce the tension. That's what we're going for. So those are the things that I would work on, is just work on the dead hang. It's so simple that people neglect to try it, because it's like it doesn't involve much equipment at all. And because of that, they think, okay, there's no way it could give me that kind of benefit, but it does. And again, the host of other benefits I can talk about later, but I'm just talking about the grip strength. I hope this helps. I want to do more. There's all kinds of other grip challenges that I do, and they're just a great way of breaking up your training, but also at the same time adding an actual functional component to your training and making you functionally stronger, which is, again, bang for your, killing multiple birds with one stone. You can't beat that. There's not a whole lot of things you can do that will give you that many hosts of benefits for your health in the future. Thanks for watching.